Hello, good morning, people. Here we are, as promised, is set up for Mexico. Since I'm not gonna be racing in Mexico for any of my league race, only done it for preseason. That's when the game came out. The last running I've had was all the way back in January. Since then, a lot of things have changed though. So let's have a look at the setup first of all. It is taken from the world record setup as always, and then I've modified it according to my liking. So I'll just show you what the world record setup is first of all. So then when you give it a try, you can give it a run and then just try to feel what's really different with this setup compared to a custom setup and how that will really benefit you um, in your league race or even your online races. Career mode probably can just adjust a little bit here and there and make it work. So the time trial, the world record setup, of course, it's a 9.7, 156, right, left, 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 typical suspension geometry. Suspension is a 1.4, 1.7, 2.7. Since there's a lot of slow speed corners over here, so having a bit of rear suspension definitely helps. Um, Rear anti-roll bar helps a lot in high speed corners as well. To some extent, in slow speed corners, you can make use of this as well. And you know, the only risk with running higher suspension is if you run over curbs, yeah, you're probably gonna be a bit unstable. That's the only catch here. Ride height again, you have to take a lot of curbs, so 2.7 is pretty much justified over here. 150 on the brake pressure standard. Maximum tire pressures, that's normal in time trial. That's where you gain a lot of responsiveness from this setup. You get the time as well. Now, custom setup, what I've done according to my liking as well. Here, have a look, and if the thing will load, there you go. So I've done a 10.7 wing. So this pretty much is to counteract the lack of rotation caused by softening the suspension and everywhere else, making the car more stable on the rear. So the front loses a bit of cornering speed, so just increase my front wing by one, and there you go, everything fixed. So 10.7, pretty good in Mexico actually. Given that you have to do a lot of high speed throttling, high speed cornering as well, fast left, right, lefts, in sector 1, sector 2, sector 3, everywhere there's quick direction changes as well, slow and fast. So having that extra bit of front wing will make sure that your front tires are not going to be dead in lap 1. So 10.7 there, and transmission 156. So again, pretty standard around here throughout this game, if anything, to run this kind of a transmission setup. 100% gives you the best initial traction out of corners. Really beneficial in qualifying, especially in the race. You can always go down to 95 as your tires wearing down. If they start wear even more, you can drop it to 5% more, 90, and then 85. Say you're doing like a super long one stop, which is again possible in Mexico but not recommended. Yeah, you can definitely lower down to 85 to 80 as your tires are wearing more and more, so that you do not stress your tires too much on exits and basically on throttle. Well, that's what it says up front. But you have to be careful. The lower you go on the on throttle differential, the less initial traction you're gonna get out of corners. But it's gonna help you to preserve your tires as well. If you're having like high speed understeer, say when you're trying to go flat out through the high speed S section in sector 2, and the car is just understeering, you can definitely lower your on throttle and try that out. Even during a hot lap, right? You probably want to set up your car for sector 1 and 3, and then in sector 2, if you feel there's a bit of understeer during the hot lap, on your second run, third run, you can always reduce your on throttle to maybe 90 halfway through the lap, so that it generates less understeer throughout that section. Give it a try, you'll definitely love it. So 156, 56 off throttle, pretty standard again, because there are a lot of high speed corners here. You want a bit of stability. Higher gives you better stability as well. Lower gives you more rotation. So somewhere there about. It's just a good balance at 56. If you feel you're really pretty good in the high speeds or in turn in, and then you want a bit more stability, you can go up to 57. If you want to go it the other way, you want more rotation in slow speed or even in a high speed, you can drop it down to 55. So 56 is a good starting point. You can go 55 in quali. You can try that out. Suspension geometry, right, left, 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 pretty standard again. I have tried again right, mid, left, left, and then right, right, left, left. They don't really feel that good around here because although there are a lot of slow speed corners, there's a lot of quick direction change as well, so you need that change of direction. So if it's just like one sweeping corner, having a low camber definitely helps. Here they're pretty slow speed change of directions, like in turn 1, 2, 3 and all those corners, except in sector 2. So you can pretty much run max rear camber. This will give you additional grip as well in the high speed S section. A bit of compromise you have to do as always. Suspension, well, like we saw earlier, it started off at 1.4 for the world record setup. I've just put it down to 1.1 just to get a bit of better traction coming out of corners with a softer suspension, and so that the car doesn't kill me on the curbs. That's pretty much the only reason why I like to run 1.1 on the suspension. Anti-roll bars 1.5, so I have softened it a little bit because it was a little too responsive in high speed earlier with the 1.7 setup, and when I reduced it, obviously this is going to induce understeer. I've reduced the rear suspension, I've reduced the rear anti-roll bar. It's going to induce some understeer in the car, hence why I've increased my front wing by 1. So a good balance there. You trade off somewhere and you get back somewhere. Right height, again, it was at 2.7. You can definitely run 2.7. You can run 1.7 as well. Either way would be good. If you're planning to not mount the curbs at all, then go 2.7 or 1.7. Either way is good. If you're planning to mount the curbs a lot, and you feel that's how you're fast and you can keep it consistent, definitely go with 2.7 so that you get a bit of ground clearance. So yep. And then brakes 150 as always. No changes to this. Maybe 51 for the first corner, turn 1, because that's a pretty heavy braking zone, and with quite a pointy setup, high speed braking can be a little dangerous. So maybe just 51 brake points for turn 1. You should be good. And then tire pressures, maximum on the rear. Again, this is for best tire life and also best stability. You can consider reducing 1 psi here. I'll say that's a good option in Mexico because of the slow speed corners. This will give you extra traction out of the corners, extra grip as well, while mid cornering. But if you feel your tire wear is a little high, it's either you have to increase your rear downforce or you have to increase your rear tire pressure to counter that. If you're going for a 2-stop, probably this doesn't matter. If you're going for a 1-stop, your tire wear definitely matters. Otherwise, maximum tire pressure, pretty good in qualifying and race. Front tire pressures, 23.4. Well, the sole reason why it's pretty high is because Mexico again has a lot of slow speed corners. There's a lot of time for the tires to cool down. So the long pit straight, after you come out of sector 3, if your tires are starting to get into the 100s, by the time you at the end of turn 1, your tires are probably going to be like 90 degrees again, so 95, 93 maybe, or something like that. So they're going to cool down quite a bit if you have lower pressures, so pretty good as well. And then you'll have still plenty of grip and tire temperature for the rest of the lap where it gets technical. And yes, so that's about it. 10.7 on the wings, 156 right, left, 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 typical. And then 1.1 suspension, 1.5 roll bars, 1.7 right height, 150 on the brakes. And then tire pressures, as you see, 23.4 on the front, 23.5 maximum on the rear. Changes that you may want to make for qualifying, let's say, you can definitely consider one click lower off throttle just to give you extra rotation in in slower speed corners and a bit of instability in high speed. It may cause that, but it's a good compromise for qualifying. For wets, definitely go higher on the downforce, possibly something like even 9 on the rear wing, and then maximize your front wing in the wets. So 11.9, 11.8 definitely recommended in the wets, because overtaking is gonna be near impossible in this track in the wets, even though there's pretty long straight, unless you get a very good exit. The only way you get a good exit is if you have high downforce coming out of sector 3 and you get close to someone. And in general, running high downforce in the wets is the better way to go. Better braking, better acceleration, better tire wear, and better overall pace. You'll be faster even than someone who's running lower aero. The transmission, you definitely can reduce the off throttle by 1 for the wets, and then you should be good to go. And then suspension, maybe just drop the anti-roll bar by 1, otherwise just keep it the same. Again, you have to definitely practice these changes, otherwise you will not know how the car would react. Sometimes you can run the exact same setup in full wets and the car will be perfectly fine. Sometimes you have to do these minor adjustments to make it perfect. Alright, and yeah, tire pressures, definitely consider dropping at least 1 psi on the rear and 1 psi on the front for the wets, just to give you extra grip around the circuit, because it's gonna be very slow speed. It's pretty much like crawling pace through the slow speed corners. Yep, that's about it. And let me know how you do in your league races or how you find this setup, and I'll see you probably end of this week. It's gonna be for the next league race, next setup. It's gonna be Singapore. So, well, that's a bit of 50. Have a bit of event going on at the weekend, so maybe I'm not be able to race. But either way, the setup would be up there for y'all to use. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you in the coming week. Stay safe, everyone, and then make sure you subscribe, like as well, and then share with your friends. And we will be back. F1 22 is also out. Let's hope we get our hands on that pretty early in the beta, or maybe even on a launch day, and we'll see if we can get some early setups done in that. So subscribe for that, stay tuned for that as well. Ciao.